Welcome to the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners, Hood County Master Gardeners Continuing Education Series. This is our second program in 2021. I'm Louise Hooper, a brand new Master Gardener, and I'm with Shelley Rayunga. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
And she's been a Master Gardener for much longer than I have, for almost 6 years. And so I'm saying to her, please interrupt me at any time to correct the wrong information I may say. So Shelley, you're certified in organic gardening. Tell us where you got that.
I got the certification from the Texas Organic Research Center in Dallas.
And how long ago was that?
2 years ago.
And what made you interested in organic gardening?
Well, I've been organic for 25 years because a neighbor boy back in Indiana came over to play with my children when they were young, and we had our lawn sprayed the day before, and they were out rolling around in the grass, and he just broke out from head to toe, swell, face, hands, everything. And from that day on, I said, I'm not putting anything on my lawn that's going to hurt my kids, my pets, myself, anything. So that's when I became organic.
Very good. And that's going to be the primary topic of our program today, is organic gardening. First, we're going to just give a little blessing to what you should be doing in January and February. This is the time of year that you'll cut back anything that needs cut back because it's not inactive growing. So anything from your trees, your oak trees, your peach trees, of course your roses. The rule of thumb is have those roses all trimmed by Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Mostly because you can remember, roses, Valentine's. That's when you need to cut them back, and you cut them back pretty severely. And you can see the video on that on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page. The other things you might be doing in January, February, in addition to cutting back any of the perennials that have died back, you might be doing some preparation for your soil, for your spring garden. You know, back before I was a Master Gardener, I was like, well, okay, in March we'll get busy. No, I was always behind. I wonder why. You really need to do that in January, February.
You could do your soil anytime, but if you're wanting to do a new bed, or if you're wanting to beef up a bed you already have, you want to do it before you plant, so it has time to work and get the microbes going. And yeah,
one of the things that I just learned from the last year was what I've heard some people call it lasagna gardening, but I did not have good soil here, and after 2 years of gardening, the third year it was like muck. It was just I guess that's clay in the soil. And so last year I did get rid of as many of the weeds as you can, put down cardboard, and then put mulch on top, and then I brought in good soil and put that on top. And what Shelley's telling me I need to do also is add the organic fertilizer.
Yes, but I would say you want to also use some of your natural soil that you have. You don't need to bring in new. You want to use what's here, but add amendments to it.
Okay.
So, but if you're making a new bed, you want to get out all the grass. So get a grass cutter, or, kill the grass. You want to use, because I'm natural and organic, we want to use the vinegar or other essential oils or whatever to kill the grass. I don't use Roundup at my house because I'm organic and it's not organic. So, but other than that, you just want to build the soil. You want to feed the soil. Organic's all about feeding the soil, not the plants.
So the benefit to organic fertilizer, which we've talked about treating it with molasses to fertilize, tell the fabulous benefit that I can't wait to have mine down for.
Saves water.
Well, yeah. That's true. I was talking about the ants.
The molasses will keep your fire ants away. It because it works in that soil. It makes the microbes, and they are active in the soil. And ants hate that. They will want that dead soil, so people and things will leave them alone, and the molasses, which are sugars, they like build up your soil and make it really, really rich and great. And yeah, your fire ants don't like that.
So that's what I'm excited to put down here shortly, because as soon as it gets warm, I'm going to be working in the garden and beginning to plant things, and I don't want fire ants in my garden, and I don't want to have to treat them. Well, I can't treat them very well in the garden, because I'm certainly not going to put down a poison on the ant mound when I'm growing vegetables next to it. But one of your treatments that you like for...
Yeah, if I see a mound, which I haven't in several years because I'm organic, and once you go organic and you've got your lawn and your vegetable garden and everything organic, and it has been for a while, your ants don't usually come around. I also use something called beneficial nematodes, which I spray on my yard and my beds, which will eat the ants. So that's another thing. I spray twice a year at my house to avoid fire ants.
What time of year do you spray it?
End of February, 1st of March for the spring and summer, and I don't see fire ants all year. And then I put it out again in October.
Very good.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about why you would want organic for all the other
Everything.
uses in your yard.
Being safe for your children, your pets, but safe for the environment. Synthetic fertilizers seep into your water tables, your ponds, your rivers, and cause the golden algae blooms, which kill fish. It also evaporates into the air, so it rains back down on you. So I just prefer to be organic.
Yeah,
natural.
I'm interested in going organic, particularly because we have a water well, and think of all the places in our Hood County area that have a water well. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I think it's more important.
And it saves water to be organic. It really does, because part of being organic, you plant native plants or well-adapted plants to your area, and that saves water.
Very good. Well, talk to us a little bit about how you would treat the whole plant. You used a term when we were visiting earlier that I'd not really heard before, about foliar treatment. So,
oh yeah. Okay, so you put your fertilizer down around your plants, like you always would, but you also, what is called foliar fertilizing is fertilizing your whole plant. The leaves, the limbs, the trunks of the tree, the whole plant, because your plant can take in the fertilizer and the nutrients from the tissue. So you wanted fertilize the entire plant, and also you don't want to just do foliar feeding, because that makes the roots lazy. So you want to make sure that you fertilize the whole plant, but then also the ground around it, so your roots don't get lazy.
So what kind of stuff would you be spraying on them? Would this be like one of those?
Compost tea, yeah, is what they call it, which you...
That's like a manure and water thing? Is
Yeah,
that what it is?
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's what you do. I mean, there are already made. I have made it before. It is kind of time consuming. They sell it already made up in gallons that you only have to use. It's very concentrated, so you don't have to use very much, and you mix it with your water and spray it on your trees or your plants. Yeah.
I'm wondering what I can do on my peach tree, since I have done everything wrong on them so far. Well, let's talk a little bit about. Well, I guess I missed a step in here. We need to talk a little bit more. Tell us some more about the organic. What was it you were showing me earlier on your list about the organic, all the organic treatments you had? What was it?
The amendments?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
okay, so to build your flower bed or your existing, you want to spruce up an existing bed, there are 3 things that you need. You need compost, which is the organic matter. You need rock minerals, which is your green sand, your lava sand, your azomite or diatomaceous earth. And you also need your micro stimulators, which are sugars. And so those 3 components are what you put in your existing soil to beef it up or to make a new bed. And once you get that soil real good, and you want to add your compost and your rock minerals and your sugars at 6 to 8 inches deep. And I do that every year.
Oh.
So my soil gets really good and rich, and the plants really thrive.
When do you do that over a period of months, or do you just do it like November or some month?
You can do it anytime because, like I said, it's organic and it's natural. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's not synthetic where it's got really high nitrogen, which is almost completely salt, and that'll burn your plants. So you have to be really more careful with your synthetic chemicals than you do with your naturals.
So, organic matter, rock minerals, and you said azomite, and what were the other things?
Azomite is one of the rock minerals. Examples of rock minerals are green sand, lava sand, azomite, diatomaceous earth, and there are others, but those are a few.
And is it okay if I take my my fireplace ashes and go dump it on because that's mineral?
You
kind of.
You can. You want to be careful on how much you use.
Okay.
Of that, because it's pretty concentrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
So, probably you want to do that a couple of months before you ever plant.
Right.
So
Right.
now would be a good time.
Then now would be a great time. And then the sugars, can be your molasses, which I love, the dry molasses. But it can, I know it sounds silly, but it can be just cakes and cookies if you have laying around, and just crumble them up and put them in your soil too, because there's sugars, and that is part of the. Or you can just use white sugar if you want to use white sugar, but molasses. I mean, they sell it in 50-pound bags of the dry molasses, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about. Have I missed anything else on organic we should talk about before we talk about our lawn treatment? Our corn gluten meal. Our pre-emergent.
I think we hit the basics. When you're starting, if you haven't ever done organic before and you're starting, you want to fertilize early spring, early summer, and early fall.
Oh, okay.
Now myself, I've been organic for a long time, so I don't need to do it like that often, or I can do it any month I want because it's already there. I'm not building a brand new organic yard.
So I'm going to do some now toward the end of right in the end of February right now.
So that's spring in Texas.
Yeah, amen. That's early spring. It's almost spring.
Yeah.
And then
early
like
summer with June.
And then
Early
September.
fall, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have bought some corn gluten meal to try to get rid of the weeds. We have a lawn here. It's mostly weeds. We mow the weeds. And I have spots of Bermuda and spots of St. Augustine that, the Bermuda is prolific in the flower beds mostly, where I don't want it to be. So talk to us about the corn gluten meal.
Okay, corn gluten meal is a natural organic pre-emergent, but it can also be used as a mild fertilizer too. But as a pre-emergent, you have to get it down before February 15th, because after that, that's when the weed seeds are germinating. And you have to get it down before the weed seeds germinate. You know, your what are those sticker burrs or whatever they're called, dandelions, you know, Poana grass, Dallas grass, the henbit, all those annual crazy weeds. you want to get the corn gluten meal down before those weed seeds germinate.
So in this case of this February, immediately after this hard freeze we just are having.
Yeah. And you can do it in January, but yeah, try to get it in before February 15th if you can.
And you were saying there's a few different kinds of corn gluten meal, a real light powdery one, a granule.
Yeah, there's two. It's made in two different forms. It's made in the meal, and it's made in granular. The meal is a very fine powdery meal, and it is messy, but it's more effective. The granular is easier to put down, is not as messy, but it's not quite as effective.
I'm not sure which one I put down in the fall to try, but I remember it was a little windy and I could see little puffs of it. Hey, get back over here!
Yeah.
So I may have put, I don't know which one I did.
But if you use the meal, the powdery, really you want to use a mask. You know, you don't want to breathe it
again.
But you know,
we're used to that. And then I think both of them you said you should water lightly after
water it in.
Get it.
Yeah.
And so that is like a seed killer. It won't allow the seeds to germinate.
Yes.
So we don't want to put any of that around. Like I'm planting some wildflower. I've planted wildflower seeds in different places. I don't want to be anywhere close to that because I don't want to get that on my wildflower beds.
But you can use it in and around if you have
beds with just plants in them and no seeds.
Yeah, like your onions, you know.
The bulbs and
bulbs and that,
plants.
you know, where you have, because that will work as a mild fertilizer, but also keep the weeds at bay.
So now this is a question. So let's say it's June and I've got all my plants up. I'm not going to seed anything again till August when I do a fall garden. So could I put some corn gluten down all around my plants in my vegetable garden and it would keep my weeds out?
Well,
Would help.
It will help. It would help. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to show you now what the bags look like. We're not endorsing any brand, but I'll show you what I bought at the local feed store and show you a couple of spreaders and talk for just a minute about how to put it down. Okay, so we are looking at 2 bags that I bought at our local feed store, and not advertising whatever brand, but it's what I could get, so I'm excited about it. The corn gluten spreadable pre-emergent.
This is what it looks like. And then you just put it in your spreader and spread it at 20 pounds per 1,000 square foot.
And my problem last time was I couldn't quite figure out, okay, how much do I open my spreader? Well, you have the same problem whether you're spreading a pre-emergent that's chemical or this,
yes.
So same problem. But you know, the gist of it is measure off so you know how much is, like if you're doing it for the first time, you were saying do, like this size bag would only do 2,000 square feet for the first time. But once you've done that, you can probably use this size bag for 4,000 square feet. So you'd put in like half of that and see how far it gets you, and hopefully you can do once one direction and once the other direction, and which it took me a while to figure that out. So as I say, I'm new at this. And then here is the dried molasses, and it's much finer.
Yeah. And that's what dried molasses looks like. And you can use that to fertilize your yard, your vegetables, your flowering plants, and keep away the fire ants.
All right. Well, if you want to come see organic gardening in action, go to the Lake Granbury Master Gardener's garden, and right behind the Hood County Annex 1. And Shelley's area that she maintains all organically are
the raised beds, the memorial raised beds, and there's 13 of them.
So thank you for watching our Continue Education program, and thank you, Shelley, for helping us learn some things about organic gardening.